SOC 2 is a must-have for any fast-growing, global-minded SaaS firm. And today, getting SOC 2 compliant is more a question of when than if. Planning is the first step of the compliance process, and a checklist is the first step of planning. We've made the SOC 2 compliance checklist video to walk you through how to do just that, so your SOC 2 audit is easier, more streamlined, and hopefully quicker. Sprinto has helped hundreds of businesses just like yours get compliant across 15 plus frameworks, including SOC 2, so you know you're in good hands. In this video, we'll cover two broad topics. One, SOC 2 and its basics, which is valuable for understanding any terminology we use over the course of this video. And two, SOC 2 compliance and the checklist itself. SOC 2 and its basics. SOC 2 is a compliance framework that was developed by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and it helps cloud-based companies better manage any sensitive customer information they're holding. It does so by providing guidelines around data safety and protection based on industry standards and best practices. The evidence and proof of your work is then audited and subsequently collated into what's known as a SOC 2 report. The audit is conducted by an AICPA certified public accountant of your choosing, as long as they have the technical expertise, training, and certification to perform these audits. The SOC 2 audit will cover 5 basic areas, also known as trust service criteria. They are security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. Of these, security is the only compulsory one. The other 4 are optional. Here's a quick rundown of what the 5 TSCs entail. Security deals with, as you guessed it, the security of information during its life cycle with your company, from creation, processing, transmission, and storage. It aims to deter malicious attacks, unauthorized access or misuse, and unapproved disclosures of sensitive information, and more. Availability ensures that your systems adhere to operational uptime and performance standards. If you're in an industry where uptime is everything, you should probably add this to your SOC 2 audit. It covers business continuity, disaster recovery, and infrastructure monitoring. Confidentiality is the third, and it helps showcase how you safeguard confidential information by establishing the right access controls and proper privileges. If you handle a lot of financial data or IP, or promise that you delete customer information post an engagement, confidentiality is for you. Processing integrity relates to your work around cloud data processing and whether that's done accurately, reliably, and on time. If you're handling sensitive customer operations like financial processing integrity makes a big difference to your report. Privacy is the last of the 5 TSCs, and it protects any personally identifiable information you've stored by implementing two-factor authentication, access controls, and encryption. If you're wondering, that sounds awfully a lot like the security trust service criteria. Privacy deals only with personally identifiable information, whereas security deals with any kind of sensitive information. Finally, there's a type of audit you can get, type 1 or type 2. Think of type 1 as a photograph. It's capturing a specific moment in time with regards to your compliance. A type 2, however, is like video. It's not just seeing whether you have the right process set up, but also seeing whether you're following through with them. Let's talk about the SOC 2 checklist. While the AICPA doesn't have an official checklist, companies typically follow these 9 steps on their road to SOC 2 compliance. You can also download this checklist from the link below in the description. It's very useful. Step 1 is choosing your objectives. Step 2 is identifying the kind of report that you need. Step 3 is defining the scope of your audit. Step 4 is conducting an internal risk assessment. Step 5, performing gap analysis and remediation. Step 6, implementing stage-appropriate controls. Step 7, undergoing readiness assessments. Step 8, the actual SOC 2 audit. And Step 9, continuous monitoring. Towards the end, we talk about how to make the entire process as seamless as possible using automation. But for now, let's start from the top. The first step to getting SOC 2 compliant is understanding why you're getting SOC 2 compliant. Are you doing it proactively to protect customer data? Are you doing it because a customer or prospect has asked you for it? Or because you're expanding into a new geography that needs it? Answering these questions are useful since these answers have some downstream effects, which brings us neatly to point 2. The type of SOC 2 report you need is the second step. Like we mentioned previously, a SOC 1 report is a point-in-time report, which means it's great if you're tight on time. A SOC 2 report, since it's more extensive, does take longer, typically between 3 to 6 months. The scope of your audit is point 3, and this is where the 5 trust service criteria kick in. Like we mentioned, while security is compulsory, the other 4 can be picked based on your requirements. In a nutshell, choose availability if your customers have concerns about downtime. Choose confidentiality if you store sensitive information or if your customers have specific requirements about confidentiality, include processing integrity if you execute critical customer operations such as financial processing, payroll services, and tax processing, and finally include privacy if you store customer data such as healthcare data, birthdays, and social security numbers, also known as PII. Fourth up is an internal risk assessment. Your SOC 2 compliance is a reflection of your company's and industry's realities. Each business has bespoke risks, and you need to identify and document these risks accordingly. What follows after is ranking these risks based on their likelihood and impact, and finally deploying measures to mitigate the risks that you've outlined. The fifth step is gap analysis and remediation. You're probably already following some of the processes with regards to security and data protection. So in this step, you can analyze which of those policies, procedures, and controls your business already has in place and how these stack up against SOC 2 requirements. Remediation involves filling in some of these gaps by modifying workflows, adding controls, or removing obsolete processes. Stage-appropriate controls are a product of everything you've done so far, based on the trust service criteria you've chosen, the geography you're in, and the size of your company. Based on these details, you will have to implement specific controls as outlined by the SOC 2 criteria. If you're a small company, you have a basic level of security, whereas if you're an enterprise, that same control will ask you to do a lot more. The readiness assessment is the seventh step and involves engaging with an independent auditor to see how you do when it comes time for the real deal. You'll focus on a couple of key areas, including client cooperation, gap analysis, controls matrix, and auditor documentation. Step 8 is the audit itself, where you authorize an independent certified auditor to step in and build out a report for you. Get ready for a long back and forth with the auditor when you'll be asked questions, asked for evidence, and demonstrations into how your systems actually work. If you have a type 1, this is typically a bit quicker, but if you have a type 2 on the other hand, expect a more in-depth observation. The last step is ensuring all the work you've done up to this point continues to scale with you and your organization. Getting compliant is one thing, but staying compliant is just as important. Making sure that all of the processes you've set in place continue to operate even after you've gotten your attestation is just as important. There's a free downloadable version of this SOC 2 checklist in the description below. And if you're sold on the idea of a SOC 2 report, but not so much on all the manual effort involved, Sprinto is your free. Sprinto automates the entire SOC 2 experience, from checklists and policies to implementation and evidence collection, meaning you save hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars while getting SOC 2 compliant. Book your free demo from the link in the description below, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to add them in the comments. We'll get back to you as soon as possible.